Hello, welcome to the session on TDS and Tally.ERP 5.0. Out here, we will not cover the domain understanding of TDS, the rules and the regulations. We are confident that you have the necessary understanding of TDS to follow the session. The session will proceed in the order shown on the slide. Business requirement, product walkthrough for first-time users, triangulation, save returns, revised returns, guideline for existing users, summary and FAQ. The two big questions that a businessman asks himself are, is my tax return reconciled with the transactions? And am I paying the right tax to the government? If returns are reconciled with transactions and the right tax is paid, there is never a problem. But if errors are discovered in the returns or if the wrong tax is paid to the government, there are penalties and fines in addition to the harassment he goes through. Typically, every businessman would want to ensure that returns reflect books correctly. The tax returns must reflect the underlying transactions accurately. This is a basic need. We cannot have the tax ledger showing one figure and the tax return showing another. Tax payments are accurate. To ensure that the returns are accurate and tax payments are correct, transactions must be entered correctly as per TDS rules. Errors can be identified and corrected easily. Errors are inevitable. It is important that the software has a simple, accurate and fast way in which potential errors are highlighted, so that timely corrections may be done, preferably before filing the returns. Simple to set up and start. Every businessman wants that his taxes are managed in a simple manner, that the initial setup is minimal and takes just a few minutes, and that no expertise is needed. Let us see how Release 5.0 addresses all these requirements and makes TDS management simple. First, let us see how simply a first-time user can set up TDS and start using Release 5.0 in minutes. Let's take a simple scenario wherein we are recording a normal purchase invoice for a company wherein TDS is enabled with TDS rates defined at the master creation level. Let's create a new company for the state of Karnataka. Give the name as TDS sample company. Select the state Karnataka and save the screen by pressing Ctrl A. Enable the feature by going to F11, Statutory and Taxation, Enable TDS, Set or Alter TDS details. In this you have to mention the TAN number, select the deducted type as company. Rate of TDS if PAN not available, 20% will be given over here. You can change it as and when it gets changed as per the government. Save this. Accept yes. Now let us create few expense ledgers. Accounts info ledger create rent under indirect expenses. Is TDS applicable? Select applicable. Nature of payment. You need to create a new category. So press Alt C. Rent on building. Mention the section. Rate 10% and a threshold limit of 1,80,000. Save this. We have given a helper button over here which will help you with the details of the nature of payment, such as the section, the rate and the exemption limit. So once you are connected to internet and if you click on this helper, it will help you with the details of each nature of payment. Right? So we'll save this. Now we'll create a party account called owner. Under creditors, is TDS deductible? Say yes. Deducted type company resident. Mention the party's PAN number and save this. Now we create a common TDS ledger. Under duties and taxes, type of duty TDS and the nature of payments we set it as any, because it's a common duty ledger, so we are not tagging it with any specific nature of payment. Fine. Now let us try passing a simple purchase invoice accounting vouchers, F9 purchase. We select the party name owner, select the expense ledger rent, specify the value of 2 lakh, and we'll select the TDS ledger. So you can see 20,000 has been deducted. If I press Alt A, you are able to see the tax analysis as to what is the nature of payment and the amount of tax which is being calculated. Now we save this. As you have seen in the demo, setting up TDS in Tally.ERP 9 release 5.0 is no more tedious. All you need to do is simply enable TDS from F11 features, create normal expense and party ledgers, and record transactions. When creating expense ledgers, you can now create your own nature of payment. Set the TDS applicability rates and exemption limits. This means if the TDS rate changes, users can simply select the appropriate nature of payment and set the new rate. There is absolutely no need to wait for Tally Solutions to provide a stat release. Of course, if forms are changed, they will be delivered by Tally Solutions via capsules. Because of simple and quick setup, sales calls can be closed very quickly. Imagine how many more calls you will be able to make and therefore how many more sales you will do. No expertise required to record tax transactions and generate returns in Tally. Single bill value limit. Now take up the scenario of deducting TDS on single bill value limit. As per the TDS rule, every nature of payment has a threshold limit and TDS will be calculated only if that limit is crossed. But there are instances when businesses dealing with regular parties want to have the flexibility of recording their TDS deductions if the billing amount exceeds a given limit without the threshold limit being crossed. So let us see how this is handled by Tally. So first we'll go to accounts info. We have already created a rent ledger, so we will put a limit for this particular expense. Go to rent. In the nature of payment, press Ctrl Enter and alter the nature of payment. Press F12. There is an option allow single bill value limit. Specify yes and save this. In this, we specify the limit of 50,000. Right? It's asking me for the applicability date. I apply from 1st April and save this. Now go to F11, Statutory and Taxation, set or alter TDS details. In this, we have an option, ignore IT exemption limit for TDS deduction. Enable this option. Now we'll try passing the entry. So we go to accounting vouchers, F9 purchase, select the party name, select the expense, and we specify the bill of suppose 75,000 rupees. We'll select TDS. So now TDS will calculate on 75,000 since it is crossing the single bill value limit. The same we can see in the tax analysis screen by pressing Alt A. So rent for building 75,000, on that 10% is being calculated. Right? Now we save this screen. As you have seen in the demo, the setup and entry experience of single bill value limit for TDS is simple. All you need to do is enable the option single bill value for a given nature of payment, define the amount and say yes to ignore IT exemption in F11 features. Then you can record normal purchase invoices for Tally to calculate the TDS as necessary and appropriate. Next, we take up a scenario of deducting TDS on direct cash transactions made. This is particularly applicable for those who do more cash transactions and want to record TDS deduction for party without creating a ledger. Let us see how this is handled by Tally. For that, we'll go to accounting vouchers, F9 purchase. We'll select the party name as cash. In the supplier details, we'll mention the name of the supplier. Right? Now we'll select the expense ledger, specify 50,000 as the amount, and we'll select the TDS ledger. So the moment I select the TDS ledger, it will ask me for the TallyPrime details. So even though no separate ledger account has been created for the supplier, but the expense can still be booked against the supplier. So we'll give the PAN number. We'll select the deducted type. So you can see, so as soon as we put the PAN details, the TDS will be calculated. Now we can save this voucher. So as you have seen in the demo, recording TDS transactions in Tally for cash transactions was so very simple. You don't need any expertise to record tax transactions and generate returns in Tally. And the best part is, with such simple and quick setup, sales calls can be closed very quickly. Imagine how many more calls you will be able to make and therefore how many more sales you will do. Finally, we turn our attention to a scenario of deducting TDS on advance payments. In case of advances, payment to the party is made after deducting the applicable TDS. Let us see how this is handled by Tally. So we'll create few expense ledgers. Accounts info, ledger, create, professional fees. Under indirect expenses, TDS applicable. We'll create a new nature of payment. Fees for professional and technical services. Section 194J, payment code 194J, rate 10% and threshold limit of 30,000. We'll save this. Now we'll create a party ledger. Suppose we're taking the services of CA Ramesh. Created under sundry creditors. TDS deductible, yes. Deducted type, individual resident. Deduct TDS in same voucher. And we mention the PAN number. And we save this. Now we'll pass the entry. We go to accounting vouchers, FI payment. We'll select the cash ledger. We'll select CA Ramesh. So we'll enter the amount. Suppose we give him an advance of 1 lakh rupees. So we'll tag it as advance and we'll select the TDS ledger. Over here we'll have to select the nature of payment. So we'll select fees for professional and technical services. So 10% would be deducted from the advance which we have given and we save this. So now we'll book an expense. Press F7. We'll select debit the expense, that is professional fees. Suppose we put the amount of 2 lakh to party. So it is prompting me to adjust the advance payment. So if I want to adjust, I will say yes. It will take me to the bill-wise details. So in this I have to select against reference and I am able to see the advance payment which is made of 1 lakh rupees. Right? And the balance we will take as new reference. So again we will tag it with the respective nature of payment and you can see that it is showing a total bill of 2 lakh rupees and the assessable value on the balance 1 lakh, it is calculating 10,000. So the amount payable is 90,000. We select the balance against a TDS ledger. Right? Now we save this. So you can see that how by passing any normal accounting entry and selecting the TDS duty ledger, TDS gets calculated. No need to pass any additional entry or do any further configuration. Isn't it easy? As shown in the product demo, in order to record TDS on advance payments, all you need to do is make a payment entry first and then book the expenses against the advance TDS deducted. When booking the expense, Tally will automatically calculate TDS on the balance amount. That's it. You don't need to pass any additional transactions or do any extra configuration. It's so very quick and simple. Now let us see the powerful capability of triangulation. Check status. In Release 5.0, the TDS report Form 26Q has been designed in such a way that the user can identify transactions included for generating the TDS return, transactions excluded because they are not relevant, and transactions about which Tally is uncertain as to what to do because there is missing information or possible errors. This concept is called triangulation because of these three aspects. Drill down. The user can drill down into each type, included, excluded, and uncertain, and satisfy himself of the correctness of information. Corrective actions. In the uncertain bucket, Tally gives the different reasons for errors or missing information. The user can go directly into the master or transaction and correct the errors or provide the missing information. This results in 100% correct return, giving confidence of a hand-prepared return. Now let us see this powerful capability in action. In order to see the power of triangulation, let us make some errors in entries. We'll alter the ledger alter, owner. We will make the deducted type as unknown. We'll alter one entry. And we'll save this. Now let us see how the report is coming in the triangulation report. So I go to display statutory report, TDS report, form 26Q. So this is the triangulation report for the period. It shows me the number of transactions I have passed, the number of included transactions, and the number of uncertain transactions. So let us go in uncertain transactions. I press enter. It says unable to determine the deducted type for party. So if I press enter, it gives me the party name. So I select it and I set the deducted type. I select company resident and I save this. So now this exception goes away. Then it helped me with another error regarding booking and booking with deduction entries. So if I press enter, and I link it correctly. So I make the changes and I save this. So all my exceptions are clear. Now I'll make the start payment. Okay, so I select TDS. I mention the appropriate period. Deduction date. I select all sections. I select the deducted status company and I select bank. So now while saving, it asks me for the check details and I save this. Now this payment detail, it is gone into not included transaction. So again, it will check why it is not got included. So if I drill down, it helps me that the bank details are not available in payment voucher. So I further press enter and mention the missing information. So write down the check number, the check date, the bank BSR code, challan number and challan date. Now it will get included. So we saw how simple it was to identify missing information and errors, how easily we could provide the information and correct errors, and as a result get complete confidence that the return is 100% accurate. Imagine a scenario. A businessman finalizes his return. Then the accountant makes backdated additions or alterations. How will anyone know about such changes? Release 5.0 gives a powerful capability of saving returns. After you save the return, whatever changes are done, they will get reflected in the triangulation report, thereby helping in immediate action. Also, if you accept the changes, you can easily file a revised return. Let us see this in action. Now, we will save the return by pressing F6. So this will get saved in the return transaction book. Okay. Now we'll try to create new transaction that impacts TDS. Accounting vouchers. We'll also make alterations. Delete one transaction. Now we'll come back to the triangulation report. Select the saved report. This is the saved report. Now here Tally highlight that there are some changes which have been done. So let us see, it is helping us with what are the changes. You can see modified masters and modified vouchers. Okay, so if I drill down, it helps me that there is a new voucher which has been created and vouchers have been deleted, right? So if I want to add these changes, I will recompute. And if I want to overwrite, that means if the return has been filed, then we cannot overwrite, so we'll have to save as revised. Okay, so first we'll recompute. Okay, if you recompute, now there is an option whether if you want to overwrite it or you want to save as revised. If the return has already been filed, then we'll have to save it as revised, otherwise we can overwrite it. So we'll save it as revised. So if you say, it will ask you whether you want to overwrite the existing return. Now let us see how we should engage with an existing user of Tally.ERP 9. First, you must take a backup of his data. Then you can migrate the data to release 5.0. After successful migration, you will see a message. Click on the message and view the Getting Started document. This document tells you the steps to be followed before you start entering fresh data in 5.0. Now let us see the powerful capability of triangulation using an existing user's data. Now let us look at the triangulation report for existing users' data. So we'll go to the triangulation report, form 26Q. So it is giving me the statistics of vouchers for this particular period. The transactions which have been included to prepare the return. In excluded transactions, there are some 85 transactions which are being excluded from this particular bucket. This grouping is not on the basis of voucher but on the basis of nature of transaction. So there are some entries like receipt contra which are not affecting my TDS, so that these have been excluded. Now let us see the details in uncertain. There are 29 uncertain transactions. So let us see what are the details. It says in master related exceptions, unable to determine TDS applicability for ledger. So if I press enter, it is giving me the purchase accounts. So these are not applicable, right? So I just select them and I click on nature of payment and I say not applicable. So these purchase accounts have been removed from TDS applicability. Then I am able to see unable to determine the deducted type for party. If I drill down, it gives me the list of parties for which we have not given the deducted type. So we can tag them over here. So automobile spare parts, I can click on deducted type and say that this is a partnership. Equipment agencies and universal traders are company resident. So once I tag them, they are saved. So you can see again it is giving me some information of freight charges. So I just select and say nature of payment not applicable. Next it is showing unable to determine TDS applicability for duty ledgers. So if I drill down, these are all input VAT, input job work related ledgers. So for them we'll select as not applicable. Let me save this. In this manner you can clear all the exceptions which come in from the uncertain transactions, and then we can proceed ahead to make the stat payment. In a nutshell, Release 5.0 makes tax management simple. Simple to set up. As we saw in the demo, setting up TDS in Tally was simple and did not take more than a few minutes. There is no configuration required for most businesses. For few businesses which have a little complex requirement, very minimal configuration is needed. Simple to enter transactions. As already demonstrated, we could enter the first invoice in a few minutes of creating the company. Simple to enter tax adjustment and payment entries. As you saw, it is so simple to enter adjustment and payment entries. Flexible. We can handle any complex requirement in a simple manner, whether it is change in TDS rates and exemption limits or TDS on advance payments, single bill value limit, etc. Very minimal configuration is required. Accurate. Because of minimal configuration, Release 5.0 ensures that minimal errors occur. The powerful triangulation report helps you identify which transactions have been considered for the return and which have not, because of missing information, thereby helping in generating the right return. Saving returns and revised returns. We saw how a user can save his return and get visibility of all changes that happen after saving. Also, he is able to revise a return and then file the revised return, all in a simple manner. FAQs. Is there an audit report for altered transactions? The Tally philosophy is that if a user can see what edits or deletes he has done in Tally, then so can someone else, and it can become difficult to explain the genuine reasons why you made these changes to your books of accounts. Therefore, we will still not provide transactional audit. When we save the TDS computation, it is the final report that gets saved with the final figures, not the corrected transactions. So if any changes are made, you will need to refresh the report. Tally will not tell you why the report changed and which transactions were changed, deleted or added. How do I rectify errors in the TDS charged? TDS is a mandatory deduction of income tax. In case you deduct less, the liability to pay is not reduced. You will still need to pay and hopefully collect it from the deductee. In case excess TDS is deducted and not yet remitted to the department, then it is a simple matter to reverse the excess with a journal entry. Tally will pick up these entries as well. For other situations, discuss with your CA and make the necessary transactions in Tally. The government notifies a new TDS rate. Unlike earlier, in case Tally has not yet sent you an update of the new rate, you can specify the new rate and proceed with your transactions. You do not have to wait for the stat update. Of course, if the TDS return formats have changed, you will need to wait for the stat updates, which will be delivered before they become due to the department. I do not have the party PAN number at this time. Sometimes you may get the party number later. You can still assume that this is a party with PAN number and deduct the appropriate TDS. Tally will flag such entries from the triangulation report and you can enter the PAN numbers at this time as well. Are the PAN numbers verified by Tally? At this time, there is a significant cost to verify a PAN number. This has to be paid to the department. So, no, PAN numbers are not being verified as being valid or invalid at this time. Can I file the TDS returns directly from Tally? At this time, the department does not support direct e-filing. When this is opened for companies like Tally to do, we shall make this available in a release at that time. Can I manage TDS for foreign currency payments? Yes, Tally is fully multi-currency ready, so this is supported. Note that the TDS returns are in Indian rupees anyways. Finally, with Tally 5.0, can I manage withholding of tax for other countries? TDS in 5.0 is very generic, so there should be no issue to do this. You may need to design country-specific TDS reports and possibly make other changes. The detail for TDS is now openly available to developers to customize. Thank you.